Okay, good morning everyone. Yesterday we were discussing about Finder's algorithm implementation. We saw this much of we were discussing these codes. So this was the data set which was used for our program. Uh, this data set is given as input to the Finder's algorithm, and output is nothing but we are expecting one hypothesis as the output. So this is the given data set, and this data set you can observe there are three positive cases, one negative case, and Finder's algorithm always considers positive examples. Uh, okay, yeah. We started with reading the data. Pandas is the library which has got the function data frame data structure is defined inside Pandas. So we have imported it. We are reading the data. You can read the data by giving the entire path, or if the data and the program, if they are in the same directory, you can directly give it like this. So these two lines, pretty much they do the same task. So I will just comment these two lines. They are not required in the program. And I will start with creating an empty list of hypotheses. Initially, Finder starts with the empty hypothesis, null hypothesis. We'll find out how many rows are there in the given example, how many columns are there. Final column is the result column, that is yes or no column. So minus one we have taken. Rows, four rows, column, six rows, columns, six columns. And so first for loop, uh, so this initial for loop, our empty hypothesis is initialized with the first. See this for loop. What it will do is it will scan the examples, and initially hypothesis will be empty. So it will initialize the empty hypothesis to the any first positive case. So this is the first positive example. Our initial hypothesis will be nothing but this first positive example itself. That is attribute value Sunny born. This will be the part of the hypothesis, initial hypothesis. That's what we are doing in this first for loop. We are checking for this condition, that is data dot I locations. I comma columns means I am checking the final column whether it is yes or no. If it is yes, then whatever example it is, same thing I will add it to this hypothesis. Okay. Why h dot pop? Because last value yes or no is not required in our hypothesis. So I will pop that out. Okay. So our initial hypothesis, if I run this much of code, okay. So and if you see h value, h is now it is initial hypothesis, which is nothing but our first positive example. This is same as first positive example. That is our hypothesis. Next thing is what we must do is I must compare this positive hypothesis with the next example. Next is a no case. So we are not going to consider the negative example. After that, third example. Third example is positive case. So we have to compare that. In the third example, okay, in the third example, sunny sunny is there. So sunny will remain same. Warm warm is there. It will remain same. High and high values are same. It will remain same. Strong, strong, both are same. It will remain same. Cool and warm is there. Okay, they are different. So this will become question mark. Change and same is there. They are different. So that will also become question mark. See, that is what we are doing in this for loop. This first for loop will run four times. Already one example we have considered. So it will run three times. Instead of starting with zero, we have started with one. It will run three times. And final column, as usual, as above, we are checking the final column whether it is yes or no. If it is yes, see, find s works only on positive example. If it is yes, then we'll go to one more for loop. This for loop will run six times. Why six times? We have to check the six attribute values. So this for loop will run six times. And each time, what you are doing, each time we are checking one condition. If h of j means hypothesis of first attribute value, Sunny, not equal to data dot I location of 0, comma 1, that is nothing but this first value. So this value and this value we will compare. If they are not equal, then only we'll put question mark. If they are equal, we'll not do anything. If they are not equal, if they are equal, we'll go to next value. If they are equal, we'll go to next value. And fourth value, when we are doing here, these two things are not equal. When they are not equal, what we are doing, we are inserting the question mark to this hypothesis location. H of j means h of 4 at that location will insert question mark. And next value is also different. So here also we'll insert question mark. So this is for third example. Again, same thing will be repeated for fourth example. At the end of this for loop, when you come out of this for loop, okay, if you print h, then okay, here you can see the result. This is the final hypothesis. Sunny, comma, warm, comma, question mark, comma, strong, comma, question mark, comma, question mark. So this is the final hypothesis for the given data set. Is it clear? When you solved it manually also, this is the answer you got in while solving it manually. Now we have solved it through program. So finally we got this hypothesis. Is it clear? So this is the final hypothesis for this given data set. Okay, for this data set. With every new data set, hypothesis will change. Even if you change some yes or no here, again, hypothesis will change along with the data. Okay, so this program works only for this data set. Okay. So when you see, yesterday I already have uploaded the program in Classroom. You have some print statements here, initial hypothesis, print initial hypothesis. Okay, here maximum specific hypothesis. You have to give those labels, and then you have to display the result. So this is the final hypothesis which we got for this given training data. Is it clear? So this is the given final hypothesis for this given training data. This is the first lab program, and hardly 10 lines are there. Very simple program. Very simple program. Only mistake where you will make is while giving this path. Okay, don't give backward slash, you have to give forward slash in the path. So this is one place where you will make mistake while giving the path. And one more common mistake you will make is while giving this indentation. Okay, for if. Okay, again here you will make mistakes while giving the indentation, where to put the break. Okay, and where you have to put the print. So these are the places where you make mistakes. And Python is a case sensitive language. Case sensitive means capital letter and small letter. Okay, they have got their own meanings. If you are using small letters, make sure everything is small letter. Almost everything is small letter itself. So by mistake also, if you type something in caps, it won't work. Is it clear? Very simple program, first lab program. Only places where you'll make mistake is typing mistake. You'll make typing mistakes in this program. Okay. So this is the final result, final hypothesis. Okay. In exam, if you get this program manually also, you should be able to solve this program. Okay. Manually also, it's a very simple. Already you have done this in the test. So pretty simple program and algorithm. Is it clear? So let's close this program. We shall go to the next program, that is candidate elimination algorithm. Okay, already I have typed the program. In candidate elimination, see this is your second lab program. Candidate elimination algorithm is the second lab program. In Findex algorithm, we only consider positive examples. and it will give us only specific hypothesis. The most specific hypothesis we'll get as output in FindS algorithm. What we are going to get in candidate elimination algorithm? What is the output of candidate elimination algorithm? Again, in candidate elimination algorithm, input is nothing but the same data set. Yesterday I have not uploaded the data set into the drive. Today I will upload this data set. For first program and second program, data set is same. So this is the CSV file for both the programs, for FindS algorithm as well as for candidate elimination algorithm. And in exam also, this will be shared. It will be present in all the system. Okay, data set will be already present in the system. You need not have to study this data set. So first two programs data set is same. In candidate elimination algorithm, again, it takes data set as input. And what is the output we are going to get in candidate elimination algorithm? What output does it produce? Okay, what output it produces? Candidate elimination algorithm, again, it produces a hypothesis as output. But here in this case, it will give us the Gaussian space. That is general boundary as well as specific boundary of hypothesis. It is no, we are not talking about only one hypothesis. In FindS, we'll get output as only one hypothesis, that is specific hypothesis. But in candidate elimination algorithm, we'll get a general boundary as well as specific boundary. Two sets of types of hypothesis you'll get as output. General hypothesis as well as specific hypothesis. And to get the specific hypothesis, it is same, okay? We'll consider only positive cases and we'll start with the empty list. And in that, when we say that specific hypothesis, it is same as FindS algorithm. But in this case, will also consider negative examples. Okay, in FindS algorithm, we were considering only positive examples. In candidate elimination algorithm, we are going to consider negative example as well. Okay, negative example. And same, we shall start with the program. While explaining the program line by line, I will again explain the algorithm also. So for this data set, we'll apply candidate elimination algorithm and we'll try to find out specific hypothesis boundary and general hypothesis boundary. Manually, already you have solved this. For theory, you have studied it already. So one specific hypothesis we'll get here and two general hypotheses we should get as output. For this given data set, if you apply candidate elimination algorithm, we are going to get one specific hypothesis and two general hypotheses as output. So our program should also produce the same output. Is it clear? Program should also produce the same output. Yeah, just like yesterday, first thing is we are importing pandas because we are reading the data from the file and that data is stored as data frame inside the data frame. For that, we need pandas. So first line, almost in all the programs will be using these pandas. So first line in any of your programs will be import pandas. Okay, import pandas as PD. And then we are also importing one more library, NumPy. Import NumPy as NP. So why we are importing this new library? What does it have? If you see the program, everything is same. Only one different thing you can notice here compared to previous program. Only one thing is different when you compare with the previous program. So what is that? What is the difference here? See, in Python, as I said, we have inbuilt data structures like list, tuples, dictionary, as well as data frame is inbuilt dictionary, inbuilt data structure. What about arrays? In the first lab session also I asked, do you have arrays in Python? Arrays are there in Python. See, we don't have arrays as inbuilt data structure, but arrays are defined inside NumPy library. So if you import NumPy, we can make use of arrays in our programs. Okay. Arrays are not available directly in Python, but if you want array for any operation, then it is available in NumPy library, with the help of which you can make use of array properties. Is it clear? So in this program, we are using arrays uh, to store the same data. See, this data we have imported it to data frame. From there, we'll copy this data to arrays. Okay. So for that reason, we are importing NumPy. So if you see NumPy in your program, it's clear that somewhere you are using arrays in the program. Okay. First, import pandas as PD, import NumPy as NP. Next, I am going to read the, we are going to read the data. Okay, data is equal to pd dot read csv, read underscore csv. So we are going to read this data. Now you can check, okay, after execution of that line, you can check whether data is read or not. See, Python is an interpreted language, means I can go on execute. You need not have to execute the entire program together. I'm executing the program line by line. Here green play button means it will run the entire file together. But you can see one more button here. Okay, run selection or current line. Okay, if you place the pointer here, it will say run selection. That is, you can select particular 4 or 5 lines or some loop and you can run it together, or you can run line by line. If the cursor is there, it will run that line. Okay, if you press it. So I am running line by line. I am executing the code. Okay, now we have read the data. See, each line you run here, you can notice in this window that line is executed. Okay, in. So if you want to see the data whether it is read or not, just type the data. You can see here data has been read. 4 examples are there. 4 examples. Next, I will run this line. I want to find out how many rows are there in my data, how many columns are there. Again, you can check whether it has been executed or not. Rows 4 it is saying, columns 6. Next thing is, we are using array, np.array. Okay, concepts is one array, target is one array. Okay, 2 types of array we have defined. So what are the values that are present in concepts array and what are the values that are present in target array? I will just first execute it. You see here that line is executed, and then I will execute target also. You can see here concepts I have executed, target I have executed. Just I will type the concept. I want to see what is there in the concepts array. Okay, so this is present in the concept array. So what is this? Okay, this is present in the concept array, and I will also find out what is there in the target. Okay, target is an array and it has got 4 values. It has got 4 values. 4 values are nothing but the final column value. Yes, no, yes, yes. Okay, array of 0 means yes, array of 1 means, target of 0 means yes, target of 1 means no. So this target array has got 4 values, whereas this concepts array has got 4 rows. That is, it's a 2-dimensional array. Concepts is a 2-dimensional array. It has got 4 rows and 6 column values. These are nothing but our table itself. Okay, this table itself, it was in the data frame format. Now I have converted it into arrays. Okay, because in our program we need it in array format. For that reason, that entire table concepts we have stored in one array. Target values, yes or no, we have stored it another array. Okay, same thing we have extracted from the table and we have stored it in 2 different arrays, concepts and arrays, concepts and targets. So how you are fetching that data dot I location. So see, in data we have the entire data set. In data we have the entire data set. So for concepts, what are the things you will copy? I need only these 6 values in the concepts array. So what we are doing, I want all these rows. Okay, from this table, I want all the rows and values from first value till last but one value. So that is what I am saying here. Okay, data.ilocation of, if you write, okay, data.ilocation of, you have to give the index, row value and column value. If I put colon here, okay, in the row values place, if I put colon, that means that all the rows, okay, colon means all the rows. And in the column value, I am giving the range starting from 0th column to -1 indicates last column, but except last column. Okay, this indicates the column range. 0 means first column, okay, till last but one column. Okay, if I say 0 to 4, that means 0 to 4th column except 4th column. Is it clear? If I say -1, it is like that. Or I'll just execute this and I will show you again. Okay, instead of colon, if you put 1, it will fetch only first column. Okay, if I put colon here, then it will fetch all the rows. Here also, if you put just 0, it will fetch, okay, okay, 0 comma 0 means first row, first column item. Okay, if I put colon here, first row, all the column. Okay, including yes. Same, if you put 0 to -1, that means all the columns except last column. Instead of 0, if you put colon, it means all the rows. Is it clear? iLocation, how does it work? Okay, this is colon means all the row values. Okay, colon means all the row values. And starting from 0 column to -1 means last but one column. Similarly, target, I want all the rows. In the data table, I want all the rows. I'm saying particularly -1 means only last column. Okay, particularly -1 means last column value I want. That is yes or no will be stored in this target array. Okay, yes, no, yes, yes. That will be extracted from the data and it will be stored in target array. Is it clear? Have you understood? So we have created two arrays. First array is concepts array and next array is target array. Okay, what is there in concepts array? In concepts array, we have all the examples except final column. In target array, we have yes, no, yes, yes. Okay. So next thing is, see, this is same as find as algorithm. Okay. We want to find out one specific hypothesis. As I said, candidate termination algorithm means it will find out specific hypothesis as well as general hypothesis for the given data set. So in candidate termination, first thing is we are going to find out one specific hypothesis. So specific hypothesis list I have started. Okay, specific underscore h, an empty list. I have started this list, and this list is now null. Okay, this list is now null. I have to initialize this list to the first positive example. Okay, to the first positive example, that is, I will see the last column value. If it is yes, then I will append that example to this list. See, already we have done this in the previous finds program. Same thing we are going to do here. Okay, now you can find out what is there in that list. So I have executed these lines. Already we have initialized that first list, specific list with the first positive example. Okay, first specific hypothesis is nothing but first positive example. From completely specific to we have made it less specific hypothesis by initializing it with the first positive example. So this is the first positive example which is initialized to specific hypothesis. Next thing is I have taken one more general hypothesis. Okay, See, you remember these two names, okay? Specific underscore H means specific hypothesis. GN underscore H means general hypothesis. And here, while initializing it, you can see here two for loops are there inside this list. See, whenever you see a square bracket, that means that you are trying to create a list. Square bracket in Python always indicates it's a list. Okay, this variable is going to end up in creating a list. So this general underscore H is a list. And inside that list, again, you have one more square bracket, means it is list of lists. Okay, almost kind of two-dimensional kind of list. So what you are storing in that list? For loop is there, two for loop is there, and range of columns. Range of columns means column value is 6. Here also column value is 6. So how many items will be stored in this list, general underscore H, and what items will be stored? Okay. So first, this is one list. Whatever I have highlighted, that is one list. This will be inserted this many number of times. That is 6 times. So for loop will run 6 times. So it will create 6 rows. Okay, it will create 6 rows. For each row, what it will do is inside that it will create one more list which will run another 6 times, and each time it runs it will insert a question mark in the list. So ultimately if I execute this line, okay, that line is executed, and if you want to see what is there in that line, you can just give here and you can see, as I said, it is list of lists. So 6 rows, 6 columns, and everything is question mark. Have you understood? We have created a list, general underscore H, for general hypothesis, which is nothing but 6 by 6, almost two-dimensional kind of array. Here we will call it as list. In each row, 6 question marks are there. Totally 6 rows and 6 columns. So why we have created this question marks list? See, we have created this because there are 6 attributes in our example. Okay, in our example, there are 6 attributes. So if you are trying to write down different hypotheses, okay, in each different unique general hypothesis, okay, not completely general, uh, more general, most general. If you try to write unique hypothesis, it will create 6 hypotheses. Okay, Sunny question mark question mark question mark. Okay, question mark cold question mark. Like that, it will create 6 rows and 6 columns of hypothesis. For that reason, we have created these 6 rows and 6 columns of question mark. Is it clear? Yeah. Once I start inserting the values, you'll understand. Next, as we know, Feindes algorithm works only on positive example, but candidate elimination works both on positive example as well as negative example. We have one more function called as enumerate in Python. Okay, so this for loop for I comma h, for I comma h in enumerate of concepts. See, concepts is an array. You know that concepts is an array which consists of these 4 examples. So this for loop will run 4 times. Okay, this for loop will run 4 times. Each time when it runs, each time for each, while doing each iteration, I value will be nothing but index value. If it is running in the first iteration, I value will be 0. And it will also assign something to h. If it is in the 0th iteration, h value will be nothing but the first row value in the concepts. So this is a concepts array for which I am using enumerate function. For loop when it runs, if it is in the first row, first iteration, I value will be 0, h value will be nothing but this first example. H value will be this entire first list, h value. Okay. And then again, we'll start with our regular algorithm. If target of I is equal to yes, what is there in the target array? In the target array, final column values are there. Yes, no is there. If target of I is equal to yes, I'm trying to check whether first example is positive or negative. Target of I means in target array, zeroth value, first value, is it yes or no? If it is yes, positive example, then what you will do? You will assign this value to our hypothesis. If it is yes, then I will take one more for loop and we'll run it for 6 times because I want to change the hypothesis value. H of x, h of x, okay, h of x, h is this value. If it is not equal to specific of h, already we have initialized our specific hypothesis. This value is same as specific of h. It is if it is not equal, then only we'll go and insert the question mark. But they are equal. Now first example and our values are equal, so we'll not do anything. Okay, we'll keep it as it is, and then we'll come to second example. Second example is no. Okay, first example is positive case. It is same as specific hypothesis, so we'll not do anything. We'll come to second example. We'll go to second iteration of the for loop. If target of 1 is equal to no, okay, in the second iteration, we are in the second example, and this condition will become false. We'll come to this condition. Okay, it is no, correct. Condition will become true. For x in range of columns, if h of x not equal to specific of h, okay, we'll check one by one values. See, this is our h of x. If they are not equal, yes, in the first case itself, we can see they are not equal. If they are not equal, then what you will do? General hypothesis first place 0. This is 1 comma 0. Okay, x value is 0. That is 0 comma 0. I will make it specific. Okay. See, cloudy is there. You know that whenever cloudy is there, enjoy sport is false. So I will say that that first field has to be sunny. Okay. So this general of 0 comma 0, what I will do? I will initialize with this sunny value. Okay, that is in this second for loop first iteration. I will go to next iteration, that is x value will be 1. Again I will compare warm and cold. Warm and cold, they are not equal. If they are not equal, what I will do? Instead of cold, I will make this as warm. General hypothesis, one more general hypothesis I will create. Earlier it was 0 comma 0. Next 1 comma 1, I will make it as warm. Remaining things will remain question mark. Okay, next I will check these values. They are equal, they are equal, they are equal, and here again difference is there. Okay, same comma change, they are different again. Okay, h of last value 5 comma 5, last value in the general hypothesis, I will make it as specific. I will keep it as same. Instead of change, I will remove and I will make it as same. Is it clear? So whenever there is a negative example, we'll come to this part of the program. And general hypothesis question marks, wherever question marks are there, we'll make it specific. Okay, wherever differences are there, we'll insert this common label. Sunny is there, warm will insert, and then same will insert. Okay, to make them more consistent. Is it clear? So if it is positive case, we'll alter specific hypothesis. If it is negative case, we'll alter general, we'll alter general hypothesis. Okay, we'll alter the general hypothesis. So once you execute these things, okay, I will execute it together. We have executed them together. Now I want to see what is specific hypothesis I got. Okay, specific hypothesis. Sunny, warm, question mark, strong, question mark, question mark. So in our algorithm also, you know, manually if you solve the algorithm, this is what we get. Specific hypothesis, general hypothesis. So we shall see what general hypothesis. And now you can see here, in our manual examples, when you solve it, only two general hypotheses are there. Sunny followed by all question marks, and question mark followed by warm and all question marks. Okay, only these two hypotheses were present. Okay. General hypothesis means only two general hypotheses and one specific hypothesis. That is the candidate elimination output we expect. But here you got another four rows of question marks. Okay, they are not part of the like output. In this data set, for this data set, you should not get that output. So what we will do is, you can see here, I'm trying to find out, okay, I'm trying to find out indices. This line will find out in whichever rows that question mark is there. Okay, I will execute that and I will show you. If you run that indices is a list which will give me 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, these are the rows which has got that question mark. Indices is a list. We have created that list. It will give us the row values in general hypothesis, whichever got question marks, all question marks. So how we found out indices, you can see here. Okay, in general hypothesis, okay, I'm trying to find out if value is equal to all six question marks, then return that value. Okay, for loop I will run 4 times in this general hypothesis. 6 times will run, and I have put a if condition. If all six values are question marks, then return that index value. Okay, wherever that when you are running the for loop, wherever you found this condition as true, you will return the I value. So indices is a list which will have the row values of all those question marks. So once you get that, in the general hypothesis, you have got that. What we can do is we can remove that. Okay, we can remove those question marks. How you can remove that? In the general hypothesis, we have this list of question marks. General underscore h dot remove, if you give, it will remove the question marks. Then if you see, okay, this is general hypothesis. This is specific hypothesis. That is here we are displaying the result. Final specific hypothesis, final general hypothesis. So this is the output for candidate elimination algorithm, final specific hypothesis and final general hypothesis. Is it clear? Okay. Yeah, again, we are running, all of you just give your attendance, mark your attendance. See, I will upload the program and dataset to the classroom. Also, I will upload this a video link in the classroom itself. All of you, what you must do is you have to type this program, execute the program, and take the screenshot of the output and upload it. See, your marks completely depends on the output screenshots you post. Okay. Along with the lab programs, I have also given one assignment sample program list. All of you has to solve them, execute them, and